So everyone keeps asking me about Toby Collyer. I believe that's how you say his name. Again, if I'm wrong, please do correct me. But the main reason why people are asking is because we saw a little interaction between him and Erik ten Hag after the FA Cup final the other weekend. And of course, we've seen something similar before after the final last year between Erik ten Hag and Kobbie Mainoo. Of course, in the case of Mainoo, he then went on in the following season to be a key player for Manchester United. So people are wondering, could Collyer do the same? Let me try and bring you the answers to that today. Now, Collyer was a player that myself I was rather unfamiliar with. However, over the weekend, I have watched 10 plus games of him to try and get an idea. Now, of course, that's still a fairly small sample size, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But I want to get straight into this and talk about Collyer in possession on the ball. In my opinion, this is a 6, a deep midfielder, or a double pivot player. Someone who is going to be involved deep in the build-up phase. He's not someone who is going to be crashing into the box. He's not a creative 10. He's not a dribbling midfielder. He is someone who plays deep at the heart of the midfield and really keeps things simple. The way that I would kind of describe him is quite similar to Declan Rice, but the West Ham version of Rice. A player who on the ball was very safe. A lot of his first touches were safe, sideways, away from the opposition, rather than looking to be expansive and take people on. Very much a safety first approach. And there's also certain habits which have become pretty apparent to me. So when we're talking about him on the ball, like I said, we're talking about most of the time receiving from a centre-back, being that first phase receiver. So again, not pushing too high, showing himself, being willing to receive from the centre-backs. Now, instantly, that's a good sign. That shows a confident player, a player who is happy receiving under pressure, taking the ball and trusting in his own ability and his own ball retention, often using his pretty physical frame to hold off the opposition, using his long arms, hold off the opposition, take a safe touch, and then move the ball on. In terms of where he tends to move the ball on, it will nearly always be out wide. This is not a player who is going to be splitting lines through the middle of the pitch. He's not the sort of player to fire a pass into Bruno Fernandes in a 10 position or lift passes over the top to the striker. It's not really going to happen. His game is more about safe touch, move the ball wide. He might receive it again, and then again he's going to take a safe touch, and then move the ball wide to the other side. Sometimes that will be high to a winger, or perhaps a midfielder who is pulled ahead of him, but also to the fullback as well. Again, very basic, very safe. Now that might come across as a criticism, but I don't mean it in that way. It's just a play style. It is his profile of how he uses the ball. He is very much safety first. Now, that's not particularly exciting. Technically I wouldn't say he comes across as anything particularly special. But every football team needs that safety first player. Someone who isn't going to put the ball at risk, isn't going to put the ball in harm's way, is actually just going to keep things ticking over, play most of the time 2, sometimes 3 touch football, get the ball, move it on to someone else, get the ball again, move it on to someone else. Not dribbling, not things like that, get it, move it on. And we actually saw that last pre-season. There was a game against Wrexham which actually captured it quite nicely, and we can see Collyer in the middle of the pitch here. Now the first thing he's doing here is showing a bit of intelligence as well, scanning what's around him to find a little bit of space to receive the ball. Now the important thing when you scan is it's not a case of just looking over your shoulder. You've actually got to take information in, kind of register where these players are and paint a picture in your head of what's going on the pitch. Collyer strikes me as someone who actually does that really, really effectively, and that's a good sign for a player playing in a deep area. And what it allows him to do a lot of the time is move the ball on once again within 2 touches, because he knows where everyone is. He has taken that information in. So here, for example, because he has done that scanning work before, as he receives the ball from the right back, he knows what his next pass is going to be. So he takes a touch, turns, and then plays the ball, you guessed it, out wide. This will be a common theme with his play, moving the ball into wider areas. But again, doing that scanning work before, which is important. So again, we can see he doesn't have the ball at this moment in time, and he takes that opportunity to get his head up, have a look around, try and figure out where his teammates are. So should he receive the ball, he knows where his next pass is going to be. That's really intelligent play, and it allows you to play 2-touch football, which is effective. It keeps the ball moving. The ball is always going to move faster than a human can, so it's very good to have this player who just quickly moves it about. And again, we can see the effect of that here. The right centre-back will play the ball into him. But again, he knows what he's doing. This time he can do it in 1 touch. He just casually kind of sweeps the ball over to the left-hand side. Again, it's effective. It's very simple play. It's nothing flashy. It's nothing exciting. Nothing technically that impressive. But you do need that in midfield. That player who keeps it simple. We've got another situation here where, again, he could have taken a touch here and tried to be progressive through the middle of the pitch. But actually what he does here is, you can see, because of the positioning of his left leg, over the ball, across the ball, he's kind of shutting himself off and forcing himself to play one way. He is forcing himself to come down towards the right-hand side. That's also evident with his next touch. He makes the decision, let's move in this direction. Again, he doesn't have that interest in breaking lines going through the pitch. he's going to move wide and cycle the ball over to the right-hand side once again with a fairly safe pass. And this is a regular theme in his game. Again, receiving from the centre-back. First time, he's going to move the ball out wide. This is what he's all about. Moving the ball to other people. Again, here he actually takes a bit more of an adventurous touch initially through the middle of the pitch, but then quickly just shifts it wide again. And that is how I would really sum up what you get from this young man. It is a real cycling point for the side. He's not someone who is going to dominate an opposition and play passes through them all day long. It's really a case of getting the ball out of his feet, letting the ball roll across his body, and then getting the ball to the other side of the pitch, just keeping the ball ticking over. And again, it's important that I add that this isn't a criticism. The other thing for him, and kind of in his favour, is that yes, he's a good retention player, but I also think he has the ability, due to his physical frame, to add certain things to his game. For example, ball carrying. He has the frame to do it. He may only be 20 years old, but you can already see that he's a big, strong guy. He's got long legs and a good stride. Couple that with the good ball control that he possesses, and again the understanding of space, he does have the ability to become someone, again a little bit like Declan Rice, who can carry the ball forward into midfield. I would like to see him do that a little bit more. Perhaps something else I would like to see as well is the longer range passing. We see a lot of sideways passes to his near side. Can he kind of grow into getting it and switching it to the other side? Again, I would like to see that. In possession, this is your steady Eddie, someone who is going to do the simple stuff very, very effectively, and every football team needs that, which is why I think Collyer can be a good player.
So before we continue into the video, a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, JerseyFifa.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that be the new latest releases or the old classic ones like this, Jersey FIFA has something for everyone, and now you can check it out yourself using the link in the description down below. And also make sure to use code JerseyFifa for 10% off when you order.
Now importantly, Collyer is also a very good player out of possession as well. Again, this isn't about flashy work, it's about getting the job done. He is your typical 7 out of 10 player every single week. He is solid, consistent, he's going to turn in performances week in, week out, and that does include out of possession, where again, he uses that frame which was spoken about, the long stride length, allowing him to cover a lot of ground, but also, importantly, make slide tackles and recovery tackles, which most players can't. We see players often beaten in midfield, and particularly in the case of smaller players, they're simply unable to recover. They can't really ever get back round ball side. Someone like Collyer, with his long legs, he doesn't need to. He can hook his foot round on the slide tackle, recover the ball for his side. That's effective. That makes him a good ball winner. He's also just strong in the battle. Again, he has a big frame. He can win aerial duels, but also ground duels as well. Physically, he has that capability. And that's a key sign for a young player trying to make the step to senior football. That is often the biggest kind of sticking point. Technically, they might be strong, but physically, if you can't cope, you're always going to struggle. This man doesn't have that problem because physically he's very good. He covers, like I said, he covers ground well. He covers in front of his defence. He kind of slides and screens side to side. Again, in front of his centre-backs. This is his real area of operation, if you like. This is his zone of the pitch. This is where he is going to do his work. On the ball, off the ball. This is what you get from him. And I think there's a really good skill set to have. And there is potential that he could have value to Manchester United in some sort of squad role. Should Manchester United go sign a big ball-winning midfielder in the summer, or maybe even two, having Collyer as then sort of the understudy to them certainly could work. I think my personal preference, though, would probably be to get this young man out on loan and really test him at the senior level. I personally don't think he is ready for Manchester United and the starting 11 at this moment in time, but that is just my opinion. I think he needs a loan move to try and kind of test what he can do. Test his ability to add those different things to his game, whether that be his ball carrying or his long range passing. See how physically he copes in a league like the Championship, for example. Again, I think he has all the tools to do it, but let's actually see it in practice. That would kind of be my next step with Collyer. I can't talk too much about him because, again, I still have only watched 9-10 games. It's not that great a sample size. But in terms of what I've seen so far, could he be a useful player for United? As a squad player, yeah, he's a proper utility player for the Brighton Academy. By the way, there he made his debut for the under-18s at 15 years old. He's a good player, but he played left-back for them at times, he played centre-back, he played midfield. This is a proper squad utility player, and United need that. United do need that, so Collyer could certainly have a future, and hopefully that answers some of your guys' questions, and hopefully we see more in pre-season and moving forward into next season, and we can figure out a bit more in-depth what he really is about. But for today, I think I'm happy to wrap it up there. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But apart from that, we are finished. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.